Pretoria's splinters struggle to rebuild. Portioneur makes her move for Pretoria's secrets. Shapeshifters summoned from the plane of chaos feast on flesh and memories, while the mages of the Conclave Arcana scour the 7 territories. Few will stand against them, but it won't be enough. That's where you come in. You and your cards. Like all new archons that grant you dominion over bloodlines. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, orcs, and Lund. Craft midnight potions in the Artisan Quarter for a shot at new ultra-rare foils. Flex your collection in battle and earn bigger rewards. The Conclave Arcana awaits. Do you have what it takes?
Hey everyone, welcome to the Splinterlands Town Hall. It is June 19th. I believe it is Juneteenth, 2025. We're doing it a little earlier than the normally scheduled time this month to deal with some scheduling conflicts. So, thank you to everyone for bearing with us, and for everyone else who wanted it to be earlier, you're welcome. Obviously last Town Hall was a huge event. We had just released Conclave Arcana. As I had said at the time, it was, possibly one of the biggest and most exciting events and days in Splinterlands history. At this point, we've had a month for things to settle in. The Conclave Arcana meta has settled in a bit. The team has been really looking ahead to what we're, hoping to deliver in the second half of 2025. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today. In the near term future, we definitely have some promo cards coming up. I've heard something about a pickle, I think, in the near future. We have obviously the conflicts coming up for Conclave Arcana in the very near future, which should hopefully breathe a little more life into things again as they start to trickle off after the big release. Then we have conflicts to come in to get people starting to stake their cards and earning new airdrop cards, and then the airdrop summoners, which really typically shake things up quite a bit. So definitely looking forward to those. We're also, we are shooting for a new set of reward cards. Probably in about 3 months or so, 3 to 4 months is what we're looking at for that. We got Call Me Tim and the rest of the team, starting to put all that together. And we typically, look at the meta with Conclave Arcana and Modern and how things are going, try to fill in some gaps with the new reward set. Also try to make those work together with the conflict card, airdrop cards that are going to be coming. So again, in, just a few months out, we should see another shakeup of things in Modern format to keep things interesting for everybody. But as for the big projects that we're looking at for the second half of this year, the focus is going to be primarily on new player onboarding and retention. So for the past, with Conclave Arcana, that's a lot of stuff for our existing player base, although it's definitely for new players as well. But it's not focused on them. So we got you guys a whole bunch of cool stuff, to keep things interesting for a while. And now we're going to switch our focus primarily to not only how we get new players in the door, but how we can make it a much better, onboarding experience for them. So from that standpoint, as you guys know, we have the new foundation set of cards, which have been added to the game, but currently only as like level 1 non-tradable assets. So we're looking to expand that into a foundation format, a format just like very similar to Modern that allows only the foundation set cards to be played. And that would be kind of the format that new players will go into after they finish the first campaign. The first campaign was just updated this Tuesday to kind of finish out the initial design. So I think that's looking really nice. We hope to continue to expand the campaign, add new chapters to continue to teach people about new mechanics. Then they'll go into this foundation format where they can earn these new foundation cards and play only against those cards. before they hopefully transition into modern format or other formats in the game. Um, another big thing we want to focus on is we really desperately need a guild overhaul. I think it's been very clearly shown in all sorts of different games of lots of genres that a guild system or a they have all different sorts of words for them, but is one of the biggest factors in player engagement and retention. So you want to get people into guilds, and it makes them stick around longer because they sort of have other people counting on them. They're part of a part of a group, not just themselves, where it's a lot easier to just leave the game. So we think this is the time to focus on a serious guild overhaul, and then also try to integrate that with all the other parts of the system. So integrate it with the reward system and Glint, to integrate it with land pretty heavily. Um, Integrate it with modern wild format, survival mode possibly, and also the new foundation format for new players. So that's one that's like we're just starting the design process for, but that's going to be one of the big projects I think we need to get out this year. We still want to focus on skins and cosmetics. I think our initial plans for the glamour system that we had talked about in the past need to be adjusted, since we didn't plan for black foil and arcane variant cards at the time. But skins and cosmetics are pretty important. Just also having like lots of different cool rewards for people that aren't necessarily like new cards or new tokens that affect the economy, but just having all sorts of cool stuff you can get and show off everywhere in the game. So not just the skins or the glamour for cards, but all sorts of cosmetics for your avatar image, or things that show on the battlefield, potentially like cool voice quips or whatever for your characters. So you can really like highlight basically how long you've been around or how much you've participated in all these different parts of the game. Um, we have achievements and quests. I think we're going to start with some of like very basic ones of these in the new foundation format for new players. But again, it's just something important to keep people engaged on a daily basis. Make sure you have a goal to hit every day at the very least, and it's also a way to get people to try different parts of the game and the ecosystem that they might not have tried. So we could have achievements or quests to say, hey, why don't you go try, adding some liquidity somewhere, for example, or, entering a tournament or doing whatever it is. So something that players may not have tried on their own, we can push them to expand out into different parts of the system. Um, and then we also, as I've talked about many times in the past, we want to expand campaign mode, not to make it not just a new player tutorial system. We want to have lots of, it's basically our PVE mode, player versus environment versus PvP, which we currently have, is going to be campaign mode. So we're looking at that for potentially actually doing boss fights, uh, 7 years later. So we hope that campaign mode will be able to be expanded to be just a really fun PVE mode for everybody. And it all works together in that we hope, like a lot of the rewards, which is one of the most difficult pieces of things like new modes, that can be potentially things like these new skins and cosmetics. So there can be exclusive skins and cosmetics that you can only earn from beating the campaigns. As an example, we can link it up to guilds. Maybe you could, need to do something with your guild or upgrade a building to even unlock the campaign. So our goal is to do all these things and have them really not just be like, oh, here's one thing and it's separate from this other thing that we're building, which is separate from this other thing. We want every piece of the game to like mesh really seamlessly. So your guilds unlock certain things that help you with land and campaigns, and those unlock different things that help you in other areas of the game. So it's all really an interwoven experience, and we hope that people participate in as much of the experience as possible. So that's those are, I guess, one, two, five kind of big projects that we're looking for the second half of this year. I'll recap them. It's the new foundation format and foundation set, guild overhaul, skins and cosmetics, quests and achievements, and expanding campaign mode. If I think if we can fit all those things in, it will be huge. Even if we get a few of those things in, I think that'll be a real big make a real big difference in the game as we see like the retention, hopefully for new players, increase significantly. Pretty much all those things are new player retention focused for the most part. And my hope is that we'll really see those numbers, because Blaze, who we're going to get to in a little bit, has been doing a lot of work and really starting to put things together for our marketing. So when we hopefully have a flood of new people come in, we want all these things to help keep them here and turn them into the next batch of you guys who are our core players and listen intently to all the town halls and for years on end. Um, so I'm gonna stop talking for now. I'm sure I'll do plenty more later. I'm gonna turn it over to Investigator, who's the main one actually making all this stuff happen, to talk about what we've done recently and what's coming up in the near future from development.
Okay, good morning. At least for people in this time zone, good morning. Um, so, as Matt said, recently we have released the campaign mode, which is basically the new PvE tutorial for the game. So, it's been a while since we've had a tutorial, so hopefully that'll be something that will help new players get a little better understanding of the gameplay. With that, we have introduced the Foundation set, which is a replacement for starter cards. So currently, those are restricted to level 1. In the near term, we expect to be rolling out a new phase of basically Foundation gameplay with the new game mode that Matt mentioned, along with getting additional Foundation reward cards, them being able to be combined, though their max levels are going to be lower than standard cards. So they're going to basically cap out at about half the level that standard cards would normally level up to. So that's one of the near-term projects, is we're trying to get that new mode added. The other thing that is on the near-term horizon is conflicts. So it's been a while since conflicts ran, but we are in the process of updating everything with that to support both the rebellion cards that used to be on there, but for the next set of conflicts, they will be only worth half the value that they were originally, where the Conclave Arcana cards are going to be worth full points, and the multiple pack types will also be able to be staked on wagons, where the alchemy and legendary packs have a higher conflict points contribution than the standard packs to go along with their pricing, kind of the same times 3 times 6 that we also see for your odds with hitting cards. Other things that we've done recently, so we expanded the settings to add a socials page, so you can now link your Discord and Twitch accounts to a in-game Splinterlands account. We will probably be expanding that to add additional platforms or other social information that people may want to put in, as well as potentially doing some other things with that, which is also why we're currently restricting it to 1 Discord and 1 Twitch account per 1 Splinterlands account, because if we do something that we have in mind with that, it's going to need to only go to 1 account. So aside from that, we are continuing to look into improving the performance for the tutorial and the battle replays in general. We've done some interesting exploratory stuff recently around some of the things that Matt was talking about earlier, with playing different sound effects inside the battle. None of that's necessarily coming out in the short term, but possibly something that you'll see later this year. lest we forget, there is the Yaba's Pickle event that is going to start the sale this upcoming Tuesday. So that will be the initial sale. Everyone should see the 2 crafted items for the 2 second portions of that, the auction and the fortune draw, I think is what we're calling it. So sometime soon, we should be adding the ability to craft the 2 tokens that you'll be using to enter those, which will be using land resources similar to Midnight Potions. So there's a lot going on. And I think those are the main things that are in the very short-term progress. Cryptomancer is also exploring adding a true harvestall for land, that he wants to try to get a 1-button harvest for all the plots except castles and keeps, because those have their own separate tax collection operation. But I think that's a decent coverage of the short term.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the release notes almost every week. Even though we try to do every other week, it ends up being every week a lot of the time. There's just like a ton of stuff being done all the time, and a lot of thanks goes to Investigator for being on top of all that, keeping it organized in a way we've never had at all in the past. So it's great. I mean, things have been going incredibly well from a development side and site operation side, as I think all of you can appreciate. So we hope to keep that rolling as we keep doing more and more and more. So switching gears to getting a lot of new people in here to experience all this stuff. Blaze, how we doing on the marketing side?
Oh, we're doing great. I just wanted to start off with saying thank you to the team for doing such a great job. We had a very action-packed 6 months leading up to Conclave Arcana, and there was no break in between then and now. And there is a lot of bullet points to cover, and the team is just doing a good job of knocking everything out in an orderly fashion. And it's great to see everything grow. And also all the focus on the new player retention, which is I'm super excited about, because I've been running some test ads, and getting eyeballs is going to be, we're going to have a great success with getting eyeballs into Splinterlands and people coming to play. And the most important part is when they land, they want to stay. And I think we're doing a great job with the upgrade of the campaign mode. It looks great. We have some new stuff coming around the corner that Matt and Dave have been working on that makes me feel good for the new players coming in. And also from the premium level, we've done a great job of structuring Conclave Arcana to be a great place for collectors and the premium players to come and show off their high-end cards and play at the highest level. So I myself am playing every day before bed. I try to get some games in the morning when I wake up. So really loving the game. Jumping to the numbers, trajectory is going in the right direction. Over the past 30 days, we've had 5,295 signups, with the uptick averaging going up every day. Then we have Conclave Arcana sales going very well. Let's see, we have had over 2,000 unique buyers in the main sale itself, 3.08 million in sales. Alchemy packs are leading the way with 1.56 million in sales, followed by the standard packs of 115K, legendaries at $504,000, and the starter packs are over $100,000 in sales already. And we're a little over 30 days of the general sale. So we are doing very well. And when the new players come, they have packs to buy on the market, which is great. So everything going good there. I've started running the test ads on X to start. Already doing some reels and such on Facebook and TikTok as well. But the results so far have been impressive. We have our first campaign running strong with over 130,000 impressions and over 500 clicks. So it's just the beginning, but fine tuning that and then figuring out who we're targeting and checking the regions and everything that comes with that whole package of marketing, making sure we have all of our ducks in a row and make sure we're targeting the people that we want to target. So that's going good. Merch, we have a few community members selling merchandise for Splinterlands. Jagged, Steel, and I think Mass Paranoia, Joey and Matt are representing them now. I think they're coming out with the second season here. So we'll see what they have in store for us. But good to see the community contributing and having some fun there. Let's see, what else do I have here? We have the new front page coming soon. I think Harry had mentioned that, but that's going to be great too. Again, just adding the first, making it a great first impression for the people who arrive. I think that's super important, and we're doing the right things to make that experience a good one for the people who land. So good job, team. Tasoshi Nakamoto, I don't know if you guys have maxed your card out yet, but I have, and it's a very strategic card. It's not to play every time because of the mana cost compared to what's out there with Keelan Gaines is a good combo to play it with, but a great card, and hope you guys are all testing it out. And yeah, no, it's great that it's out and about. The pickle's right around the corner, as everybody's mentioned. So get ready for that. That's going to be a fun event, and having a nice little collection piece there, seeing a bunch of pickles running around Pretoria. But in addition, we have we're working on some things with Twitch drops with the help of our friend Tails in the community. But Harry's doing the groundwork right now, getting it all dialed in. But I'll let Joey share a little bit more about that here soon. And our app is doing very well. We jumped over 500 or 5,000 downloads, and we haven't even really targeted the marketing for that. As soon as we kick that in, I think that number is going to jump up another 5K in the near future. So get ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen, there's like the dashboard on peakmonsters.com, and the new player signups have gone pretty much in a straight line up over the last 2 months. So this is already starting to take effect, and we're seeing the results. And all the stuff I talked about earlier that the team's focusing on is trying to get the spell books number and other numbers to go with that.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention too, YGG is the community is doing a great job of broadcasting Splinterlands to the world on X and Facebook and so on. So that partnership is, we're pleased with it, and they extended it for another 3 weeks. So that's really cool. And yeah, we're doing some fun things with them. And again, this is just setting up the template for our future. So if it goes well, we'll continue to expand on that area.
Yeah, it's looking very encouraging so far. Also the number of new accounts that have purchased Conclave Arcana packs after the pre-sale is really encouraging as well. Yeah, so just kind of all engines going right now on the marketing side, and then the development side is trying to make sure we keep as many of those players as we possibly can and get them buying all sorts of stuff in the game.
One thing I'd like to add, Matt, I raised my hand, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
The one thing about the way that this set is designed, like number one, Matt pointed out that we've doubled the number of people that have participated from the pre-sale. So if you think about it, the way I view it is the pre-sale was everybody who's kind of plugged in, right? So if you were plugged in, you were going to buy the pre-sale. It was a good deal. We had 1,036 people participate. We've now doubled that, meaning we've either got new players or brought back old players that weren't plugged in. And we've effectively doubled, just in a very short period of time, the number of people participating, which I think is an excellent sign. The second thing, I just put in the Discord, in the town hall setting, the Jackpot prize overview. I'm not sure everybody's aware of that, but I want to make sure we bring that to everybody's attention. That's a big deal, right? The number of prizes still left in the bucket, in Harry's bucket, is still, I mean, there's 4,536. So far, we've given out 288. So the closer we get to the end, the more that's going to be a big deal, because now the odds get even better as you get towards the end when there's less packs to open. So I think that you're going to see a lot more activity as time goes. And I just want to get that in everybody's mind, because we, in the past, back in the old days, Matt, I'm sure you remember back the alpha and the beta days, like those last, 2, 3, 4 weeks, people just went out and started buying thousands of packs. I think you're going to see something similar happen here, which is a very cool thing. So in any event, that page is out there, and if anybody's interested, I keep an eye on it pretty much every day. So that's it.
Yeah, no, those I mean, that stuff is some of the coolest things about this set, obviously, we've never had in the past. So I am very much eyeing that as well. And I'm gonna try to wait as long as I can to rip open more packs. And try to score some of those jackpot prize cards. And so people know, when we have the conflicts, each conflict card, the arcane variant versions of them, are going to be added to the jackpot prize pool. So there will over time be a small amount, but some more cards, but really rare and very valuable cards, presumably added to that pool. So it gets even more and more exciting as time goes on. And you get a higher and higher chance of getting them with every pack opened on top of it. So yeah, good to point that out. Thanks for putting that in the town hall so people can see it if they haven't checked in the game. At this point, some of you might have noticed that Nate looks a little different today. Nate couldn't make it, so we have Joey here. Joey is. A lot of you probably already know Joey, but if you don't, he's like our, I don't know if lore master is the word, but he comes up with the whole world of the Splinterlands, everything that goes on, all the stories, all the videos, all the characters and all that stuff. It all fits in his head somehow. So he's here to share what the creative team has been working on, and maybe even some eye candy in Nate's absence. So take it away.
All right, thanks, Matt. Yeah, Joey, I'm the creative guy. I run Splinter Lore and do all the lore for the cards. I also do all the copy for the website, and then I wrote the script for the campaign mode and some other stuff. So I just got a list. I'm going to run down some of the big things that creative is working on. Maybe go into detail on a few of them. So let's start. I'll start with a little bit of eye candy. I made a screenshot of what we're calling basic format. So that would be the foundations format, where it's, and Ron reminded me I need to drop this before I start talking. So let's start with this. I guess I got to download it from the folder and then drop it. Give me one sec. So basically, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it dawned on me that Ron sounds like God sometimes. He just pops out of nowhere.
I don't think the audience can't hear him. So like we have this weird voice in our heads, while we're talking.
All right, so there's a screenshot of what we're calling. It says basics on here, so this obviously is a draft. I think we're going to go with basic, just because it rolls off the tongue. Basic format, basics format. So this will be foundations only. It's kind of like our free to play mode, and hopefully this is something that we'll have an easier time getting on all the app stores, because as you know, some of them don't play friendly with crypto. And also a way to pull in those players that enjoy games like Hearthstone, Clash of Clans, or some of those other games that are free to play. Get them enjoying our foundations mode, our basic mode, and so they realize how awesome Splinterlands is. And they're like, oh, this is really cool. I can play with these cards. But what do you mean? I can also have ownership. I can rent these cards to other players that have value. I can sell them when I'm done. So all that is part of the new player, bringing in, onboarding new players. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. You can see down below 2 wins to next daily reward. We're still hashing out the details of that, but looking to start reintroducing those daily rewards that we used to have in the basic format, then possibly moving them into some of our other formats as well. We also did a homepage redesign. If you remember, brought in a marketing studio to work on that with us for a bit. Our UI UX guy, Tyler, he took a look at it, made some updates. I looked at the copy, and being who I am, I adjusted it slightly. But this is kind of above the fold what our new homepage is going to look like. I think it's a lot cooler than what we have now. Our current one is pretty outdated. Tyler really did an awesome job revamping it, updating it, and adding in that start my adventure button to really make players feel like, hey, I'm not just playing a game here. I'm starting my adventure. I'm a battle mage in Praetoria, and I compete for fame and glory in the most popular sport in all the land. I'm going to rise up, become a famous battle mage, a champion, and then compete against other battle mages, eventually get involved in conflicts, help stop the Conclave Arcana and what they're doing. All cool stuff. Another big thing we're working on, one of our top priority now is getting conflicts ready to go. We have most of the artwork and stuff is done. We know what the conflict cards are going to be. At least for the first three, I got to get with the players to design their archons. Let's take a look at that first one right now. So I don't have stats or anything. I'll just share the image. This is what your first conflict card is going to be. And her name is Zirk the Underblaze. She is a dragon card and a dragon. Might take a look at the artwork and wonder what her stats are going to be, but she's going to be pretty awesome. Basically, she's working with the Conclave Arcana, and she's kind of clearing a path for what they're doing. And if you're not familiar with the lore, the Conclave Arcana is led by Portia Nur, and she used to be part of she helped bring Silas and the Rift and the Chaos Legion to the Splinterlands. She took over the Wizards Council, kicked Jabba to the side, and Aglodius, she took over. She changed it to the Wizards Council to the Conclave Arcana, and then when the rebellion happened, she actually kind of spurred the rebellion on to get rid of Silas and the Chaos Empire. And while the world is in the midst of a rebellion in a different kind of chaos, she rises up, takes control, and now she sends out these expeditions around Praetoria, and she's looking for the secret of Praetoria. She wants to take it for herself. The Rift Watchers see what's going on, and they're like, well, we can't let this happen. So they try to get the splinters of Praetoria to stop her. And most of them are like, ooh, sorry, our army's in a disarray. Our cities are in rubble. We need to fix things after taking everything back from the Chaos Empire. So Bren Palesworn is the one who ends up going around, and he's a shapeshifter. So he appears to the dwarves as a dwarves. He appears to the orcs as an orc. And he convinces a few of they're the smaller splinters, but he convinces them to stand against Portia and the Conclave Arcana. That's where the archons for foundations come in. The archons for Conclave Arcana come in. You can kind of read the lore, figure out who's on whose side and who's fighting against who. And so for the conflict for Xerx, she's trying to stop them from even starting opposing the Conclave Arcana. So here's a screenshot from the first conflict. She's going around burning down some cities and melting faces. So that's pretty cool stuff. We touched a little bit on player avatars. That's a pretty big thing we're working on. Tyler, our UI guy, he's putting a lot of work into that. We've got, I want to say, I can't remember exactly how many, 6 to 9 starting races. And we're looking at how that's going to work. Are there going to be some that are like free? Are some going to be premium? And then how will that work? How will you change races? And they'll have, it's just like any RPG where you can change the eyes, the mouth, put a different hat on them, different clothes. Just another way to really immerse you in the Splinterlands and make you feel like a battle mage that's part of our world. Kind of touched on Matt touched on campaign mode and the PvE mode, boss monsters and stuff. Tyler's come a long way with the UI UX for that. So it'll be almost like a roguelike. The current concept, at least, all subject to change, it's kind of a roguelite dungeon experience where you fight a series of teams. If a card gets killed, it's not available for the rest of the battle. I don't know if that's going to stay, but you fight through a series of battles to get to the boss monster at the end. And there'll be a story set in the world. And hopefully we can design that around the seasons of in-game. And we're looking at theming instead of just a random arena season. The next season starts. It'll all be themed around different splinters, like kingdoms and empires of Praetorius. Like, this season we're fighting in the kingdom of Chimea, and there might be a dungeon or some kind of gauntlet mode, that roguelite adventure that's involved with that. Then you change seasons to the where you fight in the Phyrexian Empire. There might be a dungeon or something associated with that. But we'll see how it goes. We're still fleshing it out. As far as art goes, we're working hard on the Conclave Arcana Glamour. That's obviously something we still would like to do. We have a lot of irons in the fire, but glamours we'd like to get out. Working on the frames and what are the foundations, cards, gold foil, black foil, and the arcane variants. What are those going to look like? Then we're working on art for upcoming cards. So we did mention both Blaze and I think Matt hinted at, it was Harry, hinted at being able to link your Twitch account, and there possibly being a reward for that. So we're looking at how can we set up so when you watch Splinterlands streams, you watch for so many hours, maybe you get an award, maybe you get a glint, maybe you get something else, maybe at the end when you've watched the peak amount, you get a card. So we download this one. So it came to me and said, "Hey, we need to design a card that we're going to reward people that watch this Twitch streams." So I was like, man, what kind of character can I create for that? So I started thinking about it. The first thing that popped into my head is Twitch. Let's just call him Twitch, and he's a gnome. He's got a Twitch or something. Then I was like, well, that's kind of boring. That's probably the first thing that everybody thinks of. So of course I asked my wife, what do you think we should make? She said, oh, a gnome that twitches. I'm like, okay, I need to go with something else. So I thought about the theme. So this is awarded the people that watch Splinterlands streams the most. They're almost like super fans, the ones who really love the game. So let's make a card that honors these players. So in world, what is that going to look like? Well, you, the player, battle mages, fight in the arena games, and there's stands. It's like a stadium. There's people in the crowd. They paint their face. Maybe they have their shirt off and their chest is all hairy and they're waving beer around. And so that's what we made was that card. So let me throw that in here. It's a black foil. Let me do the other one first. Right here. So this guy is called the Arena Fanatic. And this is a card that we call it the Order of the Scale. It's kind of like the NFL commission or FIFA for soccer. This is a card they commissioned to honor the fans of the arena games. His name is Arena Fanatic. You can see he's got the armpit hair. He's got a big hairy chest, maybe a little bit of a beer belly. He's waving some tankards of something, probably alcoholic around. Face is painted. He's causing a scene. So this card will be rewarded to viewers of our Twitch streams for watching so many hours of Twitch or so many streams. And here's the black foil just so you can see it. I don't have a cool logo or anything, but that's what that'll look like. And we also got we got more land stuff. I know somebody asked in Discord, hey, what are you doing with land? That we got that in the works. We're working on new icons and updates for that. I won't go into details, but know that we are working on it, and our art team is hard at work at updating that stuff. I do want to mention the campaign mode, just because that is very near and dear to my heart. For those of you who played through it last week, we I guess it was this Tuesday, a couple days ago, we came out with the prologue, which I really love. It's like our trailer moment. A lot of AAA games have trailers, so it's kind of like our trailer, only it's interactive. And I think our animators did a really cool job of putting that together. Isaria, our music and sound effects coordinator, I mean, she really brings it to life. And then if you've heard the voices, I think there's 4 voices in it, and I voiced all 4 of them. So, Gon, my name's Gon Fizzlebit. I know who was it? Micro 97 said I was a bit irritating, so thanks for that. That felt good. And then there's down tree blocking our path. Why don't you two get off your rumps and move it out of the way? So I'm that dude. And then Thaco Goliavis at the very end. I just used my normal voice. I tried to do an English accent at first. So I was like, oh, maybe the elf's English. My wife's like, no, you can't do an English accent. And then the orc, I used a voice modulator, and I just got really just made it deep. So it was why don't you shut your elvish pie hole and get inside? So that was the orc, and then I just deepened it. So of course, when I'm doing it, my 7-year-old daughter is listening in, and she loves it. So now we've probably watched it like 20 times, and then we take her stuffies, and I have to voice act the whole thing, and we have fights against her dire wolf or dire fox stuffy, and her dire bear, and her dire dog, and her dire cats. It's great. And then the battles at the end, I'm really glad we got those out, because it's kind of like the capstone, right? So you learn everything, and then you have the final chapters where you actually put what you've learned to the test. You get a face off against Gon, because he kind of ditched you at the arena gates in the prologue, so you get a little payback. You get fight a couple other characters. One of them is very, I don't know if you see all the quotes with the orc, but you may notice that is from pop culture, which I like to do. And then the twist with Gertrude, and then finally you face off against the bully that beat you in the prologue. You defeat him, and everything is right with the world, and you are ready for the arena games. So that's kind of the book one. And I'm also working on additional chapters. We have leveling unit cards, leveling Archon cards. Those are pretty much wrapped up. I just need to get with the devs and figure out what the schedule is going to be for releasing those. Blockchain basics, I wrote one on that. So that's pretty much ready to go. Then we want to do things like LPs. So ideally, everything is going to be in the campaign mode. It's going to take a long time, but instead of going to the help files, you can go to the campaign mode and just learn all this stuff right there. And there'll also be the PvE mode, boss monsters and stuff will all be in there. Big plans for campaign mode, so I'm really excited for that. And then I forget who mentioned it, but the voice acting, sound effects for cards, that's another thing we're working on. We'll see how it goes, but we're testing sound effects for the pickle. That'll probably be the first thing if we do it, the first one that comes out. So maybe like the slap of a pickle in the face when it attacks, or some other stuff. We might have some voice acting in there, since it's a pickle. That's Matt's, and we have a Yaba Matt card. Maybe we can convince Matt to do some voice acting. I don't know. I do know. And then amidst all that, I'm working with Kel Jericho. If you guys remember him, he used to be on the creative team. We now have him as a contractor. So he came on for a little bit to help with Foundations and Conclave. And he also helped me a little bit with the Pantheon for Splinter Lore. We have this whole pantheon of gods and goddesses. In the campaign mode, Gertrude yells, "For Grija!" Well, who the hell is Grija? Read Splinter Lore, that's on there. And then as far as the next conflicts coming up, if you've read the lore on the Conclave Arcana cards, you might have an idea what some of the other conflict cards are going to be, and what their abilities are. Even it's in there. So check out the lore, and hopefully you get super excited about what's to come. I know I am, and I don't know. Coming to work every day is a joy, and working on this is amazing, and I love to put it together, and I love for the players to enjoy it, get immersed in the world, and look forward to what's to come next. Thanks.
You're muted, Matt.
That was quite the list of things that you guys, yourself and the creative team are working on. So yeah, we'll look forward to see a lot of that stuff enter into the game over the next 6 months or so. I guess I just want to touch on a couple more things, and then we'll open it up for questions shortly. We relaunched survival format, I think, on Tuesday. We spent a lot of time talking to a lot of different people and going through all these things, and I know a lot of people had a lot of suggestions for all sorts of things we could change. Ultimately, my preference has and continues to be that we don't do too many changes at once. The more things that you do, the more chaotic it gets. The harder it is to identify what worked and what didn't work, and the more chance there is to introduce more problems that we didn't think about. So we kind of identified what we believe were the two biggest issues with the format. We addressed those, and then the goal is we're going to keep looking at it very closely every season and talk to the players and see if there's anything we want to add, or any other changes we want to add on going forward. The goal obviously is to make it very clear that the format is overall beneficial for the ecosystem and worth the rewards being paid out. That will come down to what the community decides at some point. The company's currently paying for the rewards. Our hope is that the community will see it as a valuable format for the game, and worth contributing funds from the DAO to keep the reward payout going for that. I mean, I still think ultimately that all of these these little issues are normal and expected, and we'll get them worked out. And then I think it's going to be a very great way to get utility for lots and lots of cards. And hopefully the idea is, like, a lot of people who would normally dump a bunch of cards in the market would now have the opportunity to use those cards, use all the duplicates, and keep them, which is the goal of the mode. So we continue to look forward to player feedback, as we go on and we get closer to a community decision if we want to keep that going or not. Yeah, I mean, there was some talk about land. I didn't mention it in the list of projects that we all came together and decided on. And the reason is because, that's not one we have to decide whether or not we're doing, right? Like all the other ones, we have to sit down, we have to say, here's a million projects. Which ones are we going to do? What can we get done? How are we going to do it? Who's going to work on it? Land is like, it's a definite. So I guess it doesn't come into that equation and those things. Cryptomancer is paid by the DAO, fully dedicated on land. In addition to the general direction of going towards the Land 2.0 plan that's listed in the white paper, I did mention that we do want to integrate land with as many other parts of the system as we can. So it's going to be kind of, sort of like a 50-50 for Cryptomancer of working toward Land 2.0 and also adding new things like Aura, for example, that go into the guild overhaul, that go into maybe campaign mode, skins and cosmetics. Who knows? Like we want different land pieces to be used to craft different things in other areas, and things in other areas to benefit certain things in land. So yeah, so I apologize for not mentioning that. It's just that was, it's sort of like a definite ongoing thing, whereas all these other things, we had to spend a lot of time discussing and figuring out. So land is in there. Cryptomancer is going to be working on that. I don't know, any of you guys have anything else you wanted to mention or talk about before we jump to questions? Dave, if you're talking, you're on mute also.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I would want to say that Joey's incredible. Like his command of all the things he's got going is awesome, and they really are busy. So I love that all the stuff that they're putting out. And I know we talk a lot about the devs, how great they are, which they are. And I also think the creative team is really pumping out a lot of things. A lot of them that you haven't even seen yet. So, stay tuned.
Hey, Joey, who wrote the copy for the pickle? That wasn't you, was it?
Yeah, that was me. The lore on the Yabo's pickle card, or the website. I did both.
Both.
Yeah, I was like, let's just lean into it. I just want to go crazy. So
sounds about right. All right, cool. Well, let's get the message into chat so we open it up for questions. While we're waiting for that, and while we're waiting for the questions to roll in, I want to remind everyone, as always, that you can post questions in the Town Hall channel in Discord at any time, and someone from the team will hopefully answer them as soon as possible. Yeah, so Rod, the voice in my head was saying that also you can post your questions in YouTube or Twitch or X. But after the town hall event is over, you can post them in Discord if you don't want to wait another month until the live town hall event, or you're not able to make the town hall event. That's just another way you can get questions answered by the team. So let's see. Intrepid Surfer is asking, is there a land card in the works? Dave, I don't know, do you want to talk about some of the ideas?
Sure.
For what we're thinking for that?
Yeah, we're definitely have agreed between Matt and I that we're going to be doing some type of card produced from land resources. We're not quite sure exactly where the card's going to reside. So we've talked about a lot of different concepts, one of which is a card specific for land mode only. Another is possibly just using the resources to craft another ranked play card. So that's still TBD, but it's a high priority item. So yes, we are going to start utilizing land to create things that you guys want, in addition to potions and spells and raffle tickets and all the other stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That's part of the overarching plan of integrating land into the rest of the game is, cards both from the rest of the game that can work on land, and cards that, use land resources to create. Those may be separate, those may be the same thing. It's in the early design phase now, but it's part, and again, I don't want to just do that by itself. We want to figure out what we want to do, and we want to integrate it and say, well, okay, we're also revamping guilds. How does that work with guilds? We're also planning to do new campaigns. How does that integrate with the campaigns? So that's why we don't just want to do kind of like a one-off thing. We want to integrate it fully. Next question is Wend Beaver. Sounds like a good land promo. Yeah, the land cards haven't been designed, and you guys just heard from the man himself who designs a lot of this stuff. So Joey, if it sounds like some people want a beaver card.
Yeah, so I've been holding off to see if we do the land card, and it would probably make it there. I did take a lot of player suggestions for the foundation set. Unfortunately, I don't think the beaver had picked off by then. But for those people that did give me suggestions, you can check out foundations. You might find it in there. I think Matt Two Castles wanted a card with that was what do you call it? Had a vehicle, or like we've had the catapults and the siege engines, and that's why you see the goblin in the car. But yeah, definitely when we do the land card, one of them will be, no promises, a pickle. I mean, a pickle, a beaver pickle, like a pickle on the brain. Sorry.
Now it's just getting too crazy. We all got pickles on the brain.
Yeah. So beaver land card, probably, hopefully, yes, maybe.
There's also, the 6 players that get to design the summoners for Conclave Arcana. So if you can, bug them incessantly to create a beaver card, it's up to them. Although it, hopefully Earth element, or if it's another element, it's got to at least fit the element design to some degree.
So probably a dragon card. Is that what you're saying, Matt?
It's got to at least have wings. The half dragon beaver. Johan CR is asking, will the guild upgrades also integrate with land, and if so, in what way? Which links into the next question. I'm going to do them together from Intrepid Server, which will guild buildings be built on land plots in some form? So the answer, I think I've said many times, is yes. We're 100% going to integrate them. I don't know what way yet. I don't know exactly if guild buildings will be built on land plots or how that will work. So that's we're in the design phases now, and typically how this works is, I get the ball rolling by throwing out all sorts of ideas into a rough document. We get a bunch more people from the team involved. We go through it. We talk about what's feasible, what's not, what do people like, what do they not like. Then we'll probably get, some player involvement. for all that stuff. Whatever I threw down on the first draft is going to change 20 times before we get to a final thing that we're actually going to implement. So I can't say like, will it work this way or that way? I have no idea at this point. All we have right now is just a bunch of ideas, and we're going to whittle them down to the exact details. And then as soon as we have, more details, more clear direction, we're going to share it with everybody, probably on future town halls and then in announcement posts. But that's going to be a little further out. I mean, a guild overhaul is going to be a big project. So we're planning out for the future here. Question from Gathering the Magic. Will some of the next set of reward cards be designed by the community in some way? Love to get the players involved in the design. That's a good question. I don't know. I'll throw that to Dave or Joey or anyone.
No, at this point, no. But we are in the design process, so we could certainly consider it.
Yeah, I will. Before we start, once I have the stats and what the races and everything, or the bloodlines need to be, I'll put out a call to players again, see if we have any suggestions. And I love to get community feedback and try to fit it into our world. So that'd be super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends also what is meant by designed. There's like a lot of work and difficulty, to be honest, in making, especially at this point, in making the cards, because we have the new bloodlines with the summoners, and we plan to do a lot more with that. So it's very important that we create a certain amounts of cards of all the certain bloodlines. It's important that we create cards that have certain stats and abilities, right? So that stuff we can't always just be like, well, player X designed this and player Y designed that, like just throw it into the set. It was a lot easier in the past to do that, but now we have all these different inputs that we need to work around to make a good set. We're a lot more constrained. But there may be opportunities. I don't know I don't know about like artwork or just like character ideas or whatever. I don't know. So we'll see. I guess the answer is that at the moment we haven't planned for that. We're just trying to like figure out all the details of what we actually need for the set. Maybe later on, if that's something the player community really wants, we can look at like where we can get input.
Yeah, I mean, no promises, but like with Conclave Arcana, I think he would ask for a giraffe. He'd say, "Hey, let's make a giraffe." So put a giraffe in there.
Yeah.
So just little things like that. No promises, and maybe I do have a list of ideas I've got from players that whenever I can fit it in, I try to throw it in there. So we'll see.
I guess we got a beaver card designed right here on the town hall.
Maybe.
Just go. Potentially. So yeah. All right. Scrolling through some GIFs. Question from OAA. We've seen some new and returning players since the CA launch. You have early data on the new player conversion and retention rates. You have early observation on the free-to-play players and stickiness. Wondering if you have benchmarks for what success looks like and whether we're making progress there. Do you want to talk about what we've seen so far, Blaze?
Well, we're definitely making progress as far as in like specific details on retention. It's a little too early to tell, but I know myself and Dave have been working with Mark to create the tools we need to measure those properly and keep track of things so we can measure the progress. So excited to have tools in place now. It's taken a while, but now that they're coming together, we're going to be able to, in the near future, start reporting on that kind of stuff for the community. But for now, it's really testing and fine tuning before we can give accurate numbers on retention. But as you can see, the daily player activity is pretty good, and the new players coming in. And as far as an old wallets activating, yeah, you guys see that in the Discord. A lot of new players coming back or talking about, or old players coming back and talking about getting back into Splinterlands is always a good thing.
Yeah.
I would chime in and say for sure we know whether we have more players because we measure the number of wallets that have purchased things. So we see that, as well as we know how many players are playing in each league and how many, we had last season to this season, that kind of thing. But it's like Blaze said, it's too early to really be able to say, how long do they stick? Like, for instance, we couldn't say, are they going to stick around for 3 months? when it's only been 1 month, right? So there's still a process that we're still early in the process, I guess.
And I'd say overall, generally, the retention and conversion rates are low. And I think that's just a big opportunity for us, right? If they were very high, we wouldn't have an opportunity to grow and improve. They're very low. We understand that it was, we had a pretty poor onboarding experience traditionally. It's not surprising we had low conversion rates. We have started to see those pick up in the data that I've seen. I mentioned before, like on the Peak Monsters dashboard, you can see that the number of people signing up has increased significantly. The spell books and other things hasn't increased as much, but it is going up. So it's going in the right direction. And I think that's going to be pretty much the main focus of most of the things I talked about that we're going to be doing um, as an organization is getting those retention and conversion rates up. And also, as Blaze mentioned, we're doing work to make sure we measure those properly. We never had really any tools in the past to look at that stuff. I would just kind of haphazardly query the database, to be honest, to look at these things. So now we're setting up actual graphs and reporting tools that everyone can look at. And we hopefully can like run a campaign and look at clear trends. We can one of the things we never did well in the past was attribution. So if we did something, can we track did a player come from whatever campaign we did? So we're working on integrating the attribution for the different campaigns, so we can see, oh, the X campaign worked well, the YouTube campaign didn't work well, or YGG, whatever it is. And then we can target things that worked, and not just worked as like did people sign up, but how many converted, how many spell books purchased, how many packs purchased, all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully we can start sharing some of those graphs and actual numbers in future town halls. Next question looks like from Mega Marcus. When I look at some parts of the game, like the shop, I think there are a lot of opportunities to link to the Hive posts you already wrote. There are just a few links, but there could be more. Wouldn't that be a chance to take players over to Hive even more? Yeah, I'd say, I mean, there's definitely lots of opportunities to bring players over to Hive. I'd say that is not our focus right now. Our focus is to get as many new players into Splinterlands and keep them in Splinterlands as we can, because ultimately that's the best way to get them over to Hive long term. So, like, if we're not getting that many people in Splinterlands or sticking around in Splinterlands, then we're going to have no chance of getting them into the more general Hive ecosystem. So, yes, I think that's, we got the money from the Hive DAO, which was hugely important and helpful in being able to even bring Blaze on and do any of this stuff. So the goal is to ensure that the people who are playing the game are aware that we are powered by Hive and part of the Hive ecosystem, and have them start to explore that. But I think we have to be like, if our house isn't in order first, we're not going to be able to do that. So like, if we make Splinterlands amazing and have a ton of players that are here all the time and playing, that's the best way at the end of the day for us to get the most people also into Hive.
Yeah, and also we indirectly contribute too when we do our Peak D articles and such, right? And also we're talking about on the web page to have a news feed visible, so people can see like what's active, what's the latest and greatest, and they can click on and that'll trigger them to go to Peak D, for example. So indirectly, it's all Hive, right? Everything on Splinterlands, we're contributing to the ecosystem. So,
but I'd say, yeah, we could do that. Absolutely. If there's areas we can put links to just more information, I think that's fine. I was just saying, as a high level thing, like, that's not our first priority right now. Oh, I saw someone got their pickle shirt. I gotta order mine. I'm gonna do that right after the town hall. Gonna order my pickle shirt. And for those of you who don't know, maybe someone can throw the link in Discord here if they have it handy. You can order your Emma's Pickle shirt off of Amazon. Next question looks like from Ghostly BG. What are the plans for conflicts in terms of guaranteed chances and contribution points? Will they be greatly increased to accommodate the exceptionally high contribution values of black foils? Has the impact on the holders of the max regular foil decks been considered, as they might be a lot worse off in terms of airdrops if the stats are adjusted to mitigate the impact of black foils? So we don't have the numbers yet. So that's what we're working on. I'm literally working on that at the moment when I'm not doing the town hall. Uh, but yeah, I mean, so I don't have answers yet, other than this is all what we're kind of taking into account to figure out the numbers. I think they're definitely going to be higher than they were for Rebellion for many reasons, not just black foils. It's like the Rebellion cards also count in addition to the new cards, so there's going to be a lot more cards in general versus Rebellion, where it was only the one set. So there's like many different factors that need to be taken into account. A big spreadsheet already going with all this stuff, and we're gonna do the best they can. But ultimately, whether people who only have regular foil decks, are going to get less, I can't say. But at the end of the day, the whole point of conflicts is to encourage people to get and hold more cards. So and that's, and again, it benefits all of you. It benefits the players, the people who hold the cards, to do that. So we want to make it hard. We want to make it so most people don't have enough and they're incentivized to get more. And even if you individually don't want to get more, so you may get fewer airdrop cards, it benefits you if other people get more cards, because card market values go up, token prices go up, all these things benefit. So we do look to make it like that people don't have enough and they need more, and that we do that because it benefits everyone in the ecosystem, even if you don't participate in conflicts at all. The question: what additions are planned for the Glint store? Any idea of the timeline? Hoping for 24-hour items to get daily involvement for players. The Glint shop is one of those things that I think integrates into everything else that we're doing. So we've talked about skins and cosmetics. We've talked about guild updates. We've talked about campaign mode. We've talked about land. So the Glint shop is part of all that, right? So there's going to be all these new things from all these new areas. Some of them you may need Glint for. Some of them you can earn Glint from. So it's a circle, a cycle. And then, yeah, I don't. We may have limited time items, especially when we have skins and cosmetics. I think we'll have a lot of opportunity to do kind of cool limited time stuff in the Glint shop. But that's a good question. That's one of the things that factors into all the other pieces that we're building. Shade is asking when new stuff regarding guilds. If you're asking for when we'll have more information about it, I would hope by the next town hall we'd have some clearer plans of the ideas of what we're planning to do. As far as when it's going to be done and released, I can't even answer that, except other than to say we're shooting for by the end of the year for all these big projects. All right, I see the pickle shirt link. Thanks for posting that. I'm going to pull that up myself so I can make sure I get mine before it sells out. Question from Clay: is there enough for everyone? I don't. Are you referencing something in particular or just in general? I don't know. There probably will, whatever it is, there probably will not be enough for everybody. But that also depends how big everyone is. So hopefully with Blaze's work, we can increase that a lot. I'm noticing we're running to the end of the questions here. I don't know if that's because we did it an hour earlier this month, and we caught people off guard. If that's the case, I apologize. Yeah, the voice in my head is saying we do have less listeners as a result of that. I will try to make sure we keep to the normal schedule going forward. I think next month is an evening one. My Google Calendar seemed to log me out. Ron, do you have the date of that one? Okay, we're gonna get the date for everyone. But I appreciate those of you who were able to come on at the earlier time. I have some things going on this afternoon, so I needed to be done a little early. It looks like I got it July 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time is next town hall. hopefully we'll be able to give some more details on some of these projects that I talked about. Hopefully some of the other things will be out. Potentially the first conflict may have started by then. You'll definitely have all your answers about, the conflict points, and hopefully everyone will have the opportunity to get their pickle shirt by then. Maybe we'll all wear them on the town hall or something. And you'll be able to have gotten your pickle card by that point as well. But I see one more question from OAA. After that, Ron, I guess we'll stop the questions. We'll wrap this one up a little early, which will help me be able to do the stuff I need to do this afternoon, and we'll all get back to work. OAA is question, but really a suggestion. We should have an in-game bulletin board for the community to post stuff like pickle shirts, referral programs, maybe even burn some DEC to post. Yeah, I think not just that. A lot of people have said like they play the game, but they don't check Discord that much. I definitely do think we need to put on the to-do list. Dave, if you could help with this, is just something like when they come in the game to have a pop-up or a notification. Whenever there's new things, I think every week or every 2 weeks when we do releases, there should be a notification in the game if you log in after that says, hey, there's been a new release. Click here to see the release notes. And then it would be great to show every once in a while, like, hey, here's some things going on that you might want to check out, which could be things like pickle shirts or whatever else we have going on. Because I agree, we kind of lean a bit too heavily on Discord, which not everyone follows. Oh, I missed some questions in the chat from YouTube. I apologize for that. I will get to them now. Justice D is asking, when are the new conflicts set to start? I don't think we have a fixed date yet. As soon as we do, we will announce it. I am hoping we're shooting for by the end of July for that. So, obviously things can come up and that can change. That's what we're shooting for right now. As we get closer and more confident, we will let everybody know not only the date, but the exact details of that, like how many points you'll need to get guaranteed cards and all those things. Question, Troll Master title for new players that beat the troll first try. Can this happen? I just want a title with that name. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's fine with me. I'd like to do a lot more cool stuff with titles. Obviously, titles have value in that they give benefits on land and things. So we need to look at that and make sure it can't be exploited in any way. But I think if not a title, perhaps there could be some new like special cosmetic or something that you could get. You could show on the battlefield, like a dead troll or something, or a troll head on a thing on the wall on your battlefield. But I like that idea. Our Faded Glory is the one who asked that. I think there was one more from Gathering the Magic. When's the next content creators town hall? That's a good question. Is that something you guys think you want to do again?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to get back on track. I would say, next month we'll be back on track. And
yeah, the content creators are super, super important, especially with our marketing efforts and how do we get more people in here and to know about this. So yeah, anything we can do to help promote that sounds great. All right, we ended the questions. Again, I apologize for the change of time. Anyone who missed it we should have a replay up shortly that we post on our Hive blog that everyone can check out. Hopefully in the future you'll be able to see that in the game that there was a town hall and get the link to it. Got it. Okay. The Ron voice in my head is saying that there were some questions added that weren't prefaced with question. When Card Saber Vestigator? I don't know. Is it saying when are we going to make a card called Saber Vestigator? I don't know. That'll go into your suggestion bucket there, Joey.
We'll put it right next to the beaver.
Okay. Maybe Saber Vestigator could be the name of the beaver. Will Rooney be involved on conflicts? I do not think there is any plan for Rooney to be involved in conflicts. at this point. If anyone has ideas or suggestions, we're always open to that. But I do want to look at Rooney being involved in all the other things we're doing between guild reworks and campaign mode stuff. We want to add Rooney in there any place we can where it makes sense. Were those the only two I missed there, Ron? Voice in my head. Okay. Got it. Okay, thank you. I want to make sure we don't miss anyone who took the time to be here with us today. If you didn't get a chance to ask your questions today, again, post them in the town hall channel in Discord at any time. One of the team members will get back to you as soon as we can. If not, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to everyone on the team for being on. We had a really exciting past month or two. And now we're heads down back to work for the next 6 months and seeing how many new people we can get into this ecosystem. Thank you again. We'll talk to everybody on July 17th.